Delta Force, America's most feared special operations unit. Delta Force, officially known as the 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta, 1st SFODD, is the United States' premier counterterrorism and special missions unit. Since its inception in 1977, this elite force has been shrouded in secrecy, operating in the shadows of global conflicts and executing some of the most dangerous missions in military history. Delta Force is modeled after the British Special Air Service, SAS, and was created in response to the growing threat of international terrorism. The unit was formed by Colonel Charles "Charlie" Beckwith, a Green Beret officer who had spent time with the SAS and realized that the U.S. needed a similar specialized force. Unlike traditional military units, Delta Force operates under Black Ops status, meaning their missions are rarely acknowledged, and their operators' identities are closely guarded. The selection process for Delta Force is brutal, designed to push candidates to the limits of physical and mental endurance. Soldiers undergo a grueling assessment and selection phase, navigating through mountainous terrain with heavy loads and little rest. This phase is followed by an intense operator training course, OTC, where recruits learn advanced marksmanship, explosives, breaching techniques, hand-to-hand combat, and specialized skills such as espionage and counter-surveillance. Only a select few make it through, earning a place in one of the most exclusive and dangerous military units in the world. Delta Force made its first major public appearance during Operation Eagle Claw in 1980, an attempted rescue of American hostages in Iran. Though the mission ultimately failed due to mechanical issues and a tragic accident, it served as a lesson for future special operations. Since then, Delta Force has been involved in countless classified missions, becoming a crucial asset in counterterrorism, hostage rescue, and direct action operations. One of their most well-known operations took place during the 1993 Battle of Mogadishu, where Delta operators fought alongside Army Rangers against Somali warlords. This intense engagement, later depicted in the movie Black Hawk Down, showcased Delta's unwavering determination, skill, and ability to operate in hostile environments under extreme pressure. After the September 11th attacks, Delta Force took on an even greater role in the global war on terror. They spearheaded missions against high-value targets in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, and beyond. In 2003, Delta operators were part of the capture of Saddam Hussein, tracking the former Iraqi dictator to a spider hole where he was hiding. In 2011, Delta worked in tandem with SEAL Team 6 during Operation Neptune Spear, the mission that led to the killing of Osama bin Laden. Delta continued their relentless pursuit of terrorist leaders, culminating in the 2019 raid that took down ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi in Syria. Their ability to execute high-risk missions with surgical precision has earned them a reputation as one of the deadliest units in the world. Delta Force is unique in that its members are often embedded within the CIA's Special Activities Center, SAC, conducting clandestine operations that never make it to the news. They are frequently deployed in high-threat areas, conducting covert surveillance, assassinations, and direct strikes on enemy forces. Their expertise extends beyond combat, as they also train allied special forces, work in counter-narcotics operations, and assist in critical hostage rescue scenarios. The elite nature of Delta Force also means that they operate with unparalleled flexibility compared to traditional military units. They wear civilian clothes, use unmarked weapons, and work under different branches of the government when necessary. Delta operators must be proficient in multiple combat disciplines, from urban warfare and long-range marksmanship to close-quarters battle and advanced driving techniques. Their extensive training makes them the tip of the spear for America's most classified and sensitive missions. Despite their heroics, the sacrifices of Delta Force operators often go unrecognized. Unlike conventional soldiers, they rarely receive public medals or accolades, and their names are often omitted from official military records. Many of their operations remain classified for decades, and their missions are frequently denied by the U.S. government. This secrecy is a necessary part of their work, as their success relies on stealth, deception, and unpredictability. One of the most astonishing aspects of Delta Force is its ability to adapt to modern warfare. In recent years, the unit has played a key role in cyber warfare, drone strikes, and intelligence gathering, ensuring that the U.S. maintains its dominance in the evolving battlefield. Their operators are constantly learning new tactics, weapons, and technologies to stay ahead of adversaries. From tracking terrorists in mountainous Afghanistan to conducting urban raids in war-torn Syria, Delta Force remains the pinnacle of American military excellence. To this day, Delta Force is considered the most feared special operations unit in the world. Their lethal efficiency, legendary skill, and unmatched dedication to duty make them America's deadliest warriors. Whether eliminating high-profile targets, conducting daring rescues, or disrupting terrorist networks, Delta Force continues to be a silent but devastating force that operates wherever the country needs them most. Navy SEAL Team 6, the Ghosts of Modern Warfare. SEAL Team 6, officially known as the Naval Special Warfare Development Group, DEVGRU, is one of the most feared and elite special operations units in the world. Operating in complete secrecy, their missions often remain classified for decades, and their existence is shrouded in mystery. SEAL Team 6 is the tip of the spear for the United States military, specializing in counter-terrorism, hostage rescue, and direct action missions against America's most dangerous enemies. Their reputation as lethal warriors was cemented after Operation Neptune Spear, the 2011 raid that eliminated Osama bin Laden. But their history of executing high-stakes, high-risk operations extends far beyond that legendary mission. The origins of SEAL Team 6 trace back to 1980, following the failed Operation Eagle Claw, the U.S. attempt to rescue hostages in Iran. Recognizing the need for a highly specialized maritime counterterrorism unit, the Navy established SEAL Team 6 under Commander Richard Marcinko. Unlike standard SEAL teams, this unit was tasked with carrying out missions so dangerous and politically sensitive that their existence was often denied by the U.S. government. Although SEAL Team 6 was officially disbanded in 1987, it was immediately restructured under a new name, DEVGRU. The name may have changed, but the unit's mission, secrecy, and unparalleled lethality remained the same. The selection process for SEAL Team 6 is so grueling that only a small fraction of SEALs are even considered for recruitment. Candidates must first complete the notoriously brutal Basic Underwater Demolition SEAL (BUD-S) training, followed by years of experience in regular SEAL teams. Those selected for DEVGRU then undergo a secretive and extreme selection course known as Green Team, where they are pushed beyond the limits of endurance, mental toughness, and combat skill. Even among the world's most elite warriors, only the best of the best make it into SEAL Team 6. SEAL Team 6 has conducted some of the most high-profile and secretive missions in modern warfare. They were instrumental in the global war on terror, operating in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Somalia, and beyond. Their most famous mission, Operation Neptune Spear, involved a nighttime raid on Osama bin Laden's compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. A team of DEVGRU operators flying in stealth Black Hawk helicopters breached the heavily fortified compound, engaged in a fierce firefight, and successfully killed the world's most wanted terrorist. The mission was executed with unmatched precision, showcasing SEAL Team 6's ability to operate deep in enemy territory with little room for error. Beyond bin Laden, SEAL Team 6 has taken down numerous high-value targets. In 2009, DEVGRU operators famously rescued Captain Richard Phillips from Somali pirates in a dramatic operation that saw snipers eliminate the hijackers with simultaneous headshots in rough seas. The operation was so precise that it became legendary in the special operations community. SEAL Team 6 has also been responsible for hunting down top-ranking ISIS and Al-Qaeda leaders, conducting daring hostage rescues, and executing dangerous high-stakes raids deep in enemy territory. Unlike conventional SEAL teams, DevGru operates in complete Black Ops mode. Their missions are often denied by the Pentagon, and their identities are carefully protected. They use advanced weaponry, custom-modified gear, and state-of-the-art technology that is unavailable to regular military units. Their operators train relentlessly in close-quarters battle, CQB, advanced marksmanship, demolitions, hand-to-hand combat, and specialized tactics designed for extreme environments. They are also trained in Halo, high-altitude, low-opening, parachute jumps, underwater demolition, and urban warfare, making them capable of striking anywhere, at any time, under any conditions. The nature of their missions means that SEAL Team 6 members live in a constant state of readiness. They can be deployed within hours to neutralize threats anywhere in the world. Their operational tempo is brutal, often leading to physical and psychological exhaustion. Despite their superhuman capabilities, many DevGru operators face extreme burnout, with some choosing to leave the unit after years of relentless combat. The high-risk nature of their work also means that their casualties remain classified, with fallen operators rarely acknowledged publicly. SEAL Team 6 is not just feared for their lethal efficiency, but also for their ability to disrupt global threats before they materialize. They have played a key role in stopping terrorist plots, taking down networks of insurgents, and executing surgical strikes on enemy leaders. Their operators are ghosts on the battlefield, often moving undetected and completing missions before the world even knows what happened. Despite their legendary status, controversy has occasionally surrounded the unit. Some former members have spoken out about the highly secretive and aggressive nature of SEAL Team 6 operations. Allegations of excessive force and secret missions with unclear legal boundaries have raised ethical questions. However, within the military and intelligence communities, DevGru remains one of the most respected and feared units in history. As warfare evolves, SEAL Team 6 continues to adapt to new threats. They now play a critical role in cyber warfare, drone operations, and intelligence-driven counterterrorism. Their ability to strike swiftly and with devastating precision ensures that America maintains the upper hand in modern conflicts. From hunting down the world's deadliest terrorists to executing high-risk hostage rescues, SEAL Team 6 remains America's most elite and secretive strike force, a unit whose operators are both warriors and ghosts, feared by enemies and admired by allies. Green Berets, the unseen masters of unconventional warfare. The U.S. Army Special Forces, known as the Green Berets, are one of the most elite and feared special operations units in history. Unlike other special forces, whose primary focus is direct action, the Green Berets specialize in unconventional warfare, operating deep behind enemy lines to train, equip, and lead guerrilla forces against hostile regimes. They are the silent architects of revolution, the hidden force behind enemy lines, and the masters of counterinsurgency. Their motto, De oppresso liber, to free the oppressed, reflects their mission to destabilize enemies and support resistance movements worldwide. From Vietnam to Afghanistan, Latin America to Africa, the Green Berets have waged war in the shadows, striking fear into the hearts of America's adversaries. The origins of the Green Berets date back to 1952, when they were officially formed under the guidance of Colonel Aaron Bank. Drawing inspiration from World War II resistance groups like the OSS Office of Strategic Services Jedburgh teams, they were designed to infiltrate enemy territory, train and arm local fighters, and wage guerrilla warfare. Their first major test came during the Vietnam War, where small teams of Green Berets were embedded with Montagnard tribesmen and South Vietnamese forces to conduct counterinsurgency operations against the Viet Cong. Fighting in the dense jungles of Vietnam, they became experts in small unit tactics, ambush warfare, and psychological operations, earning their reputation as some of the most resourceful and deadly warriors in the U.S. military. Unlike traditional special forces, Green Berets are experts in foreign languages, cultural intelligence, and psychological warfare. Their mission is not just to fight, but to influence, train, and lead. They undergo an intense selection process, beginning with the Special Forces Assessment and Selection, SFAS, which weeds out all but the most capable candidates. Those who survive move on to the Special Forces Qualification Course, Q Course, a brutal training program that includes everything from weapons and demolitions training to survival, evasion, resistance, and escape, SEER, techniques. A key part of their training is Robin Sage, a final exercise where candidates must infiltrate an enemy-controlled area, establish contact with local resistance fighters, and lead them in combat. Those who pass are awarded the legendary Green Beret, symbolizing their mastery of unconventional warfare. Throughout history, the Green Berets have been deployed in some of the most dangerous and politically sensitive regions in the world. During the Cold War, they played a key role in training anti-communist insurgents in Latin America, Africa, and Southeast Asia. In the 1980s, they were involved in the covert wars in Nicaragua and El Salvador, working behind the scenes to train and arm local forces against Soviet-backed regimes. Their influence was often invisible but decisive, shaping the outcome of conflicts without conventional military engagement. Following the 9/11 attacks, Green Berets were the first U.S. troops to enter Afghanistan. In October 2001, a small team of Green Berets, known as ODA 595, rode on horseback through the rugged mountains of northern Afghanistan to unite local warlords against the Taliban. Armed with only rifles, radios, and a deep knowledge of insurgent warfare, they coordinated devastating airstrikes, overthrew the Taliban, and changed the course of the war, all with just a few dozen men. Their success was so legendary that they became known as the Horse Soldiers, a title later immortalized in books and films. The Green Berets are also experts in counterterrorism and have been deeply involved in the war on terror. From hunting al-Qaeda leaders in Iraq to training special forces in Africa to combat Boko Haram, their operations remain largely classified. They have fought in Syria, Yemen, and Somalia, conducting high-risk missions that are never officially acknowledged. Unlike SEAL Team 6 or Delta Force, whose missions often make headlines, the Green Berets work in the shadows, shaping global conflicts in ways most people will never know. One of the most unique aspects of the Green Berets is their ability to turn a small group of men into a lethal fighting force. A single 12-man Operational Detachment Alpha, ODA, team can train hundreds or even thousands of local fighters, turning civilians into soldiers and small militias into powerful insurgencies. This ability to build, train, and lead irregular forces makes them one of the most feared special operations units in the world. Green Berets also specialize in psychological operations and information warfare, using propaganda, deception, and influence tactics to weaken enemy morale and win over local populations. They work closely with CIA operatives, foreign intelligence agencies, and resistance groups to destabilize hostile regimes and spread pro-American influence in critical regions. In many cases, their presence is enough to sway the balance of power without firing a single shot. The physical and mental demands of being a Green Beret are extreme. They operate in some of the most hostile environments on Earth, from the deserts of the Middle East to the jungles of South America. They must be able to survive off the land, endure torture, and resist interrogation if captured. Their missions often involve months or even years of living deep inside enemy territory, working with local forces while remaining undetected. Their training and experience make them some of the deadliest and most adaptable warriors in history. Despite their incredible skills, the Green Berets face one of the highest casualty rates in U.S. special operations. Their dangerous work puts them at constant risk, and many of their missions go unrecognized and unacknowledged. Yet they continue to serve in absolute secrecy, fighting wars that most people will never hear about. They have become America's ultimate unconventional warriors, able to infiltrate, disrupt, and destroy enemy forces without conventional military support. As the world changes, the Green Berets continue to evolve. They are now at the forefront of cyber warfare, counter-drone operations, and hybrid warfare, ensuring that the U.S. maintains its edge in modern conflict. Whether training Ukrainian resistance fighters, hunting terrorists in Africa, or countering China's influence in Asia, the Green Berets remain America's most versatile and feared special operations force. They are not just warriors, but strategists, diplomats, and revolutionaries, shaping the course of history one covert mission at a time. Marine Force Recon. The silent eyes and fists of the battlefield. Marine Force Recon, often simply called Force Recon, is one of the most elite and feared special operations units in American history. These warriors are the deep reconnaissance specialists of the U.S. Marine Corps, tasked with infiltrating enemy territory undetected, gathering intelligence, and executing high-risk direct action missions. While not as publicly known as Navy SEALs or Delta Force, Force Recon Marines are legendary in the special operations world for their grit, endurance, and combat effectiveness. They operate with absolute stealth, slipping behind enemy lines to collect vital intelligence that shapes the outcome of battles. Yet when necessary, they strike with lethal precision, executing direct action raids that leave enemies stunned and decimated. The origins of Marine Force Recon trace back to 1957, when the U.S. Marine Corps realized the need for an elite unit capable of long-range reconnaissance, special operations, and unconventional warfare. Unlike standard Marine infantry, who operate in larger formations, Force Recon teams move in small, highly skilled groups, penetrating deep into enemy territory to observe enemy movements, direct artillery and airstrikes, and conduct sabotage missions. Their primary mission is to gather battlefield intelligence, but if they are compromised, they are trained to fight their way out, no matter the odds. To become a Force Recon Marine, candidates must first survive the grueling selection process. All recruits start as basic Marines before volunteering for recon training, a process that pushes them to their absolute limits. The training pipeline includes amphibious reconnaissance, advanced combat diving, free-fall parachuting, close-quarters combat, demolitions, survival training, and hand-to-hand combat. Those who make it through are assigned to one of two specialized Force Recon units: Deep Reconnaissance Platoons, DRPs, who operate behind enemy lines for extended periods, and Direct Action Platoons, DAPs, who conduct high-risk raids, hostage rescues, and sabotage missions. Marine Force Recon has played a pivotal role in almost every major conflict since Vietnam. In the jungles of Vietnam, Force Recon teams were dropped deep into enemy-controlled territory, using stealth and guerrilla tactics to locate enemy bases, ambush supply lines, and disrupt Viet Cong operations. They operated with minimal support, often surviving for weeks in the jungle while outnumbered and hunted by enemy forces. Their reconnaissance missions were so effective that they changed the course of battles, providing critical intelligence that shaped major military decisions. During Operation Desert Storm in 1991, Force Recon teams were the first Marines on the ground, scouting enemy positions and directing devastating airstrikes on Iraqi forces. In the global war on terror, Force Recon has been involved in some of the most dangerous and classified missions in Iraq, Afghanistan, and beyond. They have conducted high-risk raids on insurgent leaders, infiltrated terrorist strongholds, and eliminated high-value targets, In many cases, Force Recon teams have operated alongside Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, and Delta Force, proving themselves as equals among America's most elite warriors. What sets Force Recon apart is their dual capability. They are both silent intelligence gatherers and deadly shock troops. They can observe an enemy force for days without being detected, providing real-time intelligence to commanders. But if the mission demands it, they can strike with overwhelming firepower, using explosives, sniper attacks, and close-quarters combat to neutralize threats. Their ability to switch between stealth and all-out assault makes them one of the most versatile and feared units in modern warfare. Force Recon is also known for its amphibious warfare expertise. Unlike Delta Force or SEAL Team 6, who specialize in counterterrorism, Force Recon is designed to operate from the sea, land, and air. They are expert combat divers, trained in underwater demolition and stealthy amphibious insertions. They can infiltrate enemy beaches before an invasion, disable naval defenses, or conduct underwater sabotage missions. This capability makes them an essential force in modern naval warfare and island-based conflicts. Despite their elite status, Force Recon remains one of the most secretive units in the Marine Corps. Their missions are rarely publicized, and their operators work in the shadows, often embedded with CIA operatives, foreign special forces, and joint task forces. They are frequently deployed in politically sensitive areas where traditional military forces cannot operate. In recent years, they have played a key role in countering Chinese and Russian military expansion, hunting down terrorist leaders, and conducting reconnaissance in volatile regions. One of the most defining aspects of Force Recon is their sheer endurance and toughness. These Marines are expected to operate in the harshest conditions, surviving in extreme deserts, jungles, and mountains with minimal supplies. Their training ensures they can live off the land, resist capture, and endure torture if necessary. Their missions often require them to be completely alone behind enemy lines, relying only on their skills, intelligence, and determination to survive and complete the mission. The legacy of Marine Force Recon is built on courage, sacrifice, and an unbreakable warrior ethos. Many of their greatest operations remain classified, but their impact is felt on battlefields across the world. From scouting enemy fortifications before a major assault to launching high-risk raids on terrorist leaders, Force Recon continues to be one of the deadliest and most feared units in U.S. military history. As modern warfare evolves, Force Recon is adapting. They now integrate cutting-edge technology, drones, cyber warfare tactics, and intelligence operations to maintain their edge over the enemy. Whether tracking terrorists in the Middle East, conducting covert missions in Africa, or preparing for high-stakes conflicts in the Pacific, Marine Force Recon remains a silent but unstoppable force. They are the eyes and fists of the battlefield, warriors who strike fear into America's enemies and ensure that the Marine Corps remains a dominant force in global warfare. Air Force Pararescue, the Angels of Death and Life. Air Force Pararescue, PJ operators, are one of the most elite and feared special forces in American history. But unlike other units, they are equally known for saving lives as much as taking them. Their mission is unique. They are the only special operations unit solely dedicated to personnel recovery, tasked with rescuing downed pilots, wounded operators, and civilians trapped behind enemy lines. Yet despite their life-saving role, they are also some of the deadliest warriors on the battlefield, capable of engaging in direct combat while providing medical aid under the most extreme conditions. Known as the Angels of Death, pararescue operators are both warriors and medics, trained to fight their way into hostile environments, treat the wounded under fire, and extract them to safety, a skill set that has made them one of the most feared and respected units in special operations history. The origins of Air Force Pararescue date back to World War II, when a desperate need arose for specialized teams to rescue downed pilots and airmen from behind enemy lines. During the China-Burma-India theater, airmen who crashed in the jungle or mountains had almost no chance of survival unless someone was sent to get them. It became clear that the U.S. needed an elite force capable of parachuting, diving, and fighting their way into dangerous territories to save lives. By 1947, pararescue was officially established, and over the next several decades, they would become the most highly trained combat medics in the world. Becoming a pararescue jumper, PJ, is one of the most grueling challenges in the U.S. military. The selection process, known as the pipeline, lasts nearly 2 years, making it the longest special operations training program in the world. Candidates must complete basic training, airborne school, combat dive school, survival training, free-fall parachuting, and extreme medical training. They are trained in advanced trauma care, battlefield surgery, and prolonged field care, making them as skilled as emergency room doctors, but with the added ability to jump out of planes, swim through enemy waters, and fight their way through a combat zone. The dropout rate for PJ selection is over 80%, making it one of the toughest military training regimens ever created. Pararescue operators saw their first major combat action in the Vietnam War, where they gained a fearsome reputation for bravery and resilience. They became legendary for flying into enemy-controlled territory to rescue downed pilots, often under intense fire. Their motto, "That others may live," became a battle cry, as PJs would parachute into the jungle, engage enemy forces, provide life-saving medical aid, and extract the wounded back to safety. Many pilots owe their lives to these warriors, who frequently risked their own survival for the sake of others. Over the decades, pararescue has been involved in every major U.S. conflict, from Desert Storm to the War on Terror. After the 9/11 attacks, PJs became an essential part of special operations missions in Afghanistan and Iraq. Their role was not only to rescue wounded troops, but to also assist in direct action raids, serving as combat medics alongside Delta Force, SEAL Team 6, and Army Rangers. Many times, when an operator is wounded in battle, it is a PJ who is the first to reach them, treating wounds under gunfire, stabilizing them, and ensuring they make it home alive. One of the most famous missions in pararescue history took place in 2005 during Operation Red Wings, the ill-fated mission that led to the deaths of 3 Navy SEALs and the near death of Marcus Luttrell, later immortalized in Lone Survivor. When a Chinook helicopter carrying an extraction team was shot down by Taliban forces, killing 16 special operators, it was pararescue operators who led the desperate recovery effort, enduring enemy fire to retrieve the bodies of the fallen warriors. This mission cemented their reputation as some of the bravest and most selfless warriors in the U.S. military. What makes pararescue truly feared is their ability to operate in extreme conditions. They are trained to jump into the ocean to recover drowning sailors, parachute into Arctic regions to rescue stranded personnel, or rappel into active combat zones to evacuate wounded soldiers. They can operate from helicopters, planes, submarines, and even spacecraft, making them one of the most versatile and adaptable special operations units in history. If an American is stranded or wounded in a combat zone, pararescue will go in, no matter the risk, no matter the cost. Aside from their military operations, PJs have also played key roles in civilian rescue missions. They have been deployed to natural disaster zones, such as Hurricane Katrina, the 2010 Haiti earthquake, and numerous floods and wildfires, where they have saved countless lives. Their ability to operate in extreme conditions means they are often the first and only line of hope for people trapped in life-threatening situations. Despite their humanitarian side, pararescue operators are still some of the deadliest fighters in the special operations world. They are trained in sniping, demolitions, and advanced hand-to-hand combat, meaning they can eliminate threats just as efficiently as they can save lives. This makes them unique among special forces, a unit equally feared by America's enemies and trusted by its allies. The future of Air Force Pararescue is evolving as warfare changes. They are now integrating drone surveillance, artificial intelligence-assisted search and rescue, and cyber warfare tactics to enhance their ability to operate in hostile environments. However, at their core, they remain warriors willing to sacrifice everything to bring others home. Whether it's rescuing a wounded Navy SEAL from a battlefield in Iraq, pulling an astronaut from a failed space mission, or saving civilians from a hurricane-ravaged town, PJs continue to be the ultimate guardian angels of war and survival. Air Force Pararescue remains one of the most elite, most respected, and most feared special operations units in history. Their ability to fight, survive, and save lives in the most extreme and hostile conditions on Earth makes them a legendary force in the world of special operations. Where others see impossibility, PJs see a mission, because when someone's life is on the line, they will go in, no matter what. That others may live.